Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel again. So here we are going for one more speedrun game. Hopefully you enjoy my instructive session. Hopefully you can give me some good feedbacks. So in our speedrun, as you know, we are going to play one game of rapid and then trying to learn things together, right? I will try to explain my thinking process, asking you guys questions, or even answer everyone's question if necessary. As usual, I want to teach people something and I want that we all learn something from my channel, right? So let me turn off the event lists here. Okay, perfect. So let's go. Hopefully now it's on good. Hopefully now it's on good. So let's start. We play one game rapid, 10 plus 0, and let's see how it can be. So we got a game with, I think, a Madagascar player, but okay, let's start e4. d5 this time. This time we met a Scandinavian. So, as you know, this line I think is a playable variation, but for me in early level it is not the most precise one. Somehow, that's a thing you always play, right? You can just take here, and you can force him to lose a tempo with the queen. Instead, he played e6. I think he wanted to go for some kind of sacrifice to search for counter play, right? When if you take here, and you got a better development. But I'm not so impressed. Just take here first. Okay, makes sense. So now we are pawn up, right? Normally when you are pawn up, you may want to finish your development right away. That's why here, obviously, we'll play knight f3. This one is not the winning gambit. I will mention later on about the things after the game finish. So he also trying to develop to as well. d4. Get a center, and d3 is next. So now you can see here, right? I can castles with safety. And we are somehow 3 pawns up. But he is still trying to put pressure on me. At your level, this pin may look a bit troublesome, right? But I can always cover that here with knight bd2, so it's not a big deal. I can simply play here first to g5. Put pressure on him. Knight c6. So now it's a time you will need to seriously ask you what he want to do. So if you play knight bd2, right? He can just play knight d4. You're in a pin here, so you must be somewhat careful with the things. Earlier I don't see any big threats at all, so I play bishop g5. But now I must play c3. Not only is a good move here to cover the center, but also I prevent him from carrying out the tactic he wants to make, right? h4. Keep on the pressure. He just played quite fast here. I realized that when you are down in material, sometimes you don't want to make hasty exchanges. So I take queen f3. Suddenly now I'm up a pawn, you know. I got bishop pair, I got some pin, and my position seems very, very good. b7, knight d2. I will just leave it up. I can't do something else for sure, but I want to show you guys like the simplest way to play, also the most instructive way to as well. So just trying to finish my development. Rook e8. So I play e1. Just keep on developing. So now we play bishop d6. Here I see a way to win material. I will go for that. Obviously you can do something else, but I think that is the simplest way to play. So here is the pin, right? Also the queen here is somewhat overloaded. I can play knight e4, putting more pressure on the pin, but I want to exploit the pin right away. I play here first. Take here as well. You can win the pot you want. But I think the simplest way is to just go for some more activities. Knight e4. Now, there comes a serious threat, right? Bishop e7 defend a pawn. Correct play by him. I have so many possibilities here. Take it right away is good. Rook e1 is also very good too. Have lots of great things you can play here. So now it's all up to your decision. You can play here, trying to just go for an endgame up 2 pawns. You can play rook e1, keep on developing. But I will try my best here to win the game fast. I think the simplest way here to do is to put pressure on his king on g8, right? Which is kind of open now. Check first. I could have taken for sure. I can do many things to win this portion, to be honest. I just want to win the quickest. You know what I mean, right? This is definitely not the only way to win. Just want to make it simple. You know what I mean? So now, once again, we're in a crossroads with so many possibilities. So many. I will play queen f5. It's more difficult now to you? Interesting. I know that. So, I mean, I will know things from my future games. So, no, okay, let's take care. Now, let's go for the endgame. He defend well, though. He defend well. There are some ideas I want to do in terms of tactics, but he defended well, so I need to go for the material. So, here, to sum it up, when you are up material, you have 2 different ways to play. First way is trying to win a game right away by simplifying the progression. Second is trying to just, you know, use the extra material to attack. I want to do the second thing first, but somehow he defended pretty good, so I need to go for the pawn. Now I can try queen g7 here and go for the endgame, right? Up 2 pawns. I think I'll go for the for you guys. To make things, I think, instructive. First, control the e file. I can do many things, as mentioned earlier, but I want to make sure you guys understand the easiest options. Refit. I will just improve my pieces activities. In the endgame, your king must be activated. Once again, it is clearly not the only way, but I want to play something that I feel is the most natural. You know what I mean, right? Most natural. My king now is activated, and now I can start to put pressure on him. Time for invasion. Weird. I can play bishops here and here, you know. For instance, this is my threat. Somehow the the rook here is getting a bit trapped, right? You can see here, for instance. Now my threat is fulfilled. We win material, and now this is deadly. We can just take here and go for this knight, you know. I think the simplest way is just take it right away. And turn c4. Now we are up a full piece. Now just like the king invasion, and the game is over. Okay, GG's. Sorry for the ads. I will ask Shuttercom team to give me premium later on. GG's. Okay, so first of all, I think I can also learn something from this game as well. I guess that my conversion is not so simple for some people, but I will explain it in depth very soon. Okay, so let's get back to the game and analyze it. Okay, let's turn it off here as well. Okay, 1 second. Does it look right actually? Okay, but this is the way. So, in the game, we play this Scandinavian for d5. So, e5. My opponent here, instead of normal line with queen d5, right? Knight c3, queen a5, d4, knight f3, bishop c4, whatever it is, he play e6. First of all, for me, I will not recommend the Scandinavian for black in early level. I think that will allow your opponent to be able to obtain very easy development. So I think it was not a good thing to do. So in the game, he plays this one, which is somehow, I believe, not the best way to continue for him, right? Take the pawn in the game. Bishop is here as well. Whoops. I think he has some luck here as well. So somehow the moves didn't even get it fast. Knight f3, okay, good now. Knight f6 and d4. As you can see here, so although black seems to be faster in development, right? He only got bishop here on e6, and that doesn't help him with that much. That's why I think this sacrifice is a bit making no sense. If he wants to make sacrifices, in fact, the way to play is this move, which is actually playable. Like here, he played this. Or you can play this one right away as well, which is also playable. You know, somehow this thing reminds me of a very famous game. I think it was played by Magnus Carlsen back to 2018. He played this one in a Pro Chess League game. He played this line, knight f6. So, white play... I'm trying to recall the things. I think here... Okay, I'm recalling things actually. I fully forget what's actually. I think the game is like c4, I believe. So something like g4. I think this is the one, I believe. Here. It's one. Okay, here it is. And this. This was played Magnus in his game. I think against Indian GM Suri Vaihat. Yes, Suri Vaihat. And somehow the game continued in a brilliant way. Like take here, bishop e3, bishop e4, knight c3, rook e8, and this was played by Magnus the whole game, which was insane. I think in the game he just played it wrong. I mean, he played knight e4 at some point here, but I think this is the way to win the game on the spot. Like sacrifice can be done, you know, but need to be in the right way. In the game, this one is a dubious sacrifice. No worries, I mean, I will try to explain deeper for the audience. So in the game here, text, f3, d4, d3, and just castles. As you can see, right? Somehow, like fails to create a lot of activities, and I think I can defend it fairly simple, right? I'm a pawn up. He pins you here with g4. Normally, so at your level, you guys can be worried about the pin, you know? Sometimes, but I can tell you for sure that this is not something very scary, and you can defend with that like in a simple way. In the game I play here, ignore these ideas of the pin. I can always play here later on, you know, so I'm not so worried about that. Knight c6. So now obviously I realize I can't play here, right? Like some nice d2 against knight d4 and you win back your pawn. So one thing I need to tell you for sure is that sometimes you need to check if your opponent has any kind of special threats, right? If there are, you must prevent it first, in my opinion. So in the game I play c3, not only to defend the pawn here on d4, but also prevent him from carrying out any ideas. a6 here. Retreats. Take here will be hasty, guys. Somehow now, although I think I am still okay, but we just somehow give him a bishop pair, right? Which is definitely not needed. So in the game, h4 was play. Take f3, which is very hasty. But I think it's already kind of hard here to give him any better moves. I think the safer way to play is like rook e8. Look at my knight d2, right? Knight d2 here, got the knight covered. So my queen can run away as well, and rook e1, and I can slowly convert the pawn up. Somehow, he got in the pin too as well, right? And he will not be able to get out that easily. g5 is always very risky and never work in these positions. That's why somehow here I am just a clean pawn up. In the game, take here, queen f3, rook e7, cover the pin, knight e2. Just developing, right? Also, if anybody had any questions, just feel free to ask me, so I can be able to explain the things more. In the game, so rook e8 here, rook e1, rook e6. So as I mentioned earlier, you can be able to get some ideas with the pin here, right? Knight e4 is okay. I think this actually is also a very playable move, but I just want to explore right away. Rook e8, takes. Okay, so let's start with here. Could you suck a piece of g5? So it is impossible, like you mean here earlier, right? So let's say here, this one. Let's say here, g5. Due to the fact that your knight is pinned, knight g5 is impossible. But if let's say he play like here, queen c2, g5, you can also do this one as well, which I think may be available. But why need to do so when you are a healthy pawn up and don't need to go for any kind of risk, right? Okay, so now let's come to the questions. Why don't win on this right away? You can surely do it. Now it's just like a matter of this and what you want to do for your positions. In fact, if you want to play like for the easiest, you can just play here, queen f6, you know, win a pawn. Threaten to win a pawn here next as well, and be 2 pawns up, right? But I saw queen e6, which like wants to offer the queen swap, and you know you may need to play here, and now you 2 pawns up still, right? But I want to go for the attack first and see if you can defend it or not. If he defends well, I will go for the pawn later on. If he doesn't, I can win again right away. You know what I mean, right? I can do this for sure. For I think simplification and for some simple method to get a game. But I want to force him to find some better defense first before going for the simplification. You know what I mean? Also, I can even play queen f5 too as well. Set up a very strong battery, right? Which I think is also fine too as well. So once again, it is just like the matter of test. Like what do you prefer and what do you want to play in these type of positions? You know what I mean? So I think everything's fine here, in my opinion. In the game, I play knight e4, e7, defend the pawn obviously. I think here rook e1 is the best move. I believe it's the best move. So now you threaten to click here with the idea to go for the queen, right? Moreover, you get a piece to give me tempo. I think you should have played this. Queen f8, the queen f5. And now I have the threat of going here with the mid, right? Also, I can think of rook e3 and go for the rook left. I think this one is the way to win the game at the best, which in the game somehow I fail to do. Somehow, I mean, I see people chatting that you think take the pawn is easier. That's why I do it for people. But what I can say is that I wanted to see if they can defend properly or not. If they can defend well, okay, I will go for the pawn captures. If not, I can go for the win right away. You know what I mean? Also, as I mentioned, there are many ways to win, like queen g3 for the pawn as well. Even queen here, I think is mentioned by Lafun earlier, which I mean is also completely fine. So many ways. In the game, I'll go queen g4, queen here, queen f5. So my threat is simple. I want to play knight to f6. To f6. With this threat, right? Well, then I play queen g8. He covered the square and he defend precisely. So I decided, okay, it's time to go for this. f6. Right? He decided to remove my knight to f6 here. Touch. g7. In a normal game, I think I will play queen f4. In a normal game myself. I want to keep more, the queen on the board here. His king still looks quite weak, right? And I can use my queen here to target some more pawns. But yeah, in the game I chose a very natural ways. This here, right? And we're 2 pawns up. So I will start from here. I will make sure you understand the way of converting. First of all, at this point, rook e1 is a must play move. Your rook here must be placed in an open file, right? It controls the only open file in the game. If you play something like, f4, you can play here, After which you can still be winning here after king f2, but it is not needed. You understand me? So play your first e1. Ref it. Now there can be some players who ask me, why don't you play d5 to invade on e7? So my answer is that it is definitely playable, right? When I can try to invade here, make some more pawns, but I want to show you the simple ideas that, just win a pawn and go for the king walk in endgame is okay. In the endgame, the king can be, I think, having like 5 points. Like it can be as strong as a rook, potentially. That's why I think it should be much easier to just go for the king activities, and you guys can be able to understand it easier. You know what I mean? I will say it's not forcing, but I think it is probably the easiest way to play. You know what I mean? Not the only way, but I think this is the simplest way to play. That's what I feel. d5 rook d8. You can just play here, and then you play here, and now you are 3 pawns up. Obviously, you can go here still, but you can surely be able to win this rook endgame when you are up so much material, right? Just don't go for rook e7, which allow the bit on d1, and you are fine. In the game, play f4. f6 here. Once again, d5 is available. Own kind of simplification here is winning for you, But I just want to try to play something like the simplest. One more thing I want to tell you is that if you play here, for instance, let's say here, right? So you're 2 pawns up. Some people might wonder how to win in this position, isn't it? The way to win is to create passers in a side where you have the pawn majority. So here you have 2 pawns up. You can create passers in both 2 flanks, right? So here, like king f2 first can be okay. You try and play here and here, create passers on the king side. And then you can play here as well, creating another one on the other side, right? In the game here, I just go king f2, rook f7, king f3. Just simply activate pieces. I can always play here and here, and I go for some activities. In the game, play knight e5, I go rook e8. Time for invasion, and I think I want to go for this move. I find that he is so passive, isn't it? Well, we were able to win 2 pawns earlier, and in the endgame, it is when your pawn can be very useful. That's why people mention that, one of the best ways to win if you up material is to transfer the game to the endgame. In the game, so here, b6, F5. This one can be a thing. So in fact, I think the best way to play for black is C5, right? But even here, I can play D5. And this can be a very strong pawn push, isn't it? Also, in the meantime, the pawn here can become a very strong pawn that can be queen, right? So here, like here, all kind of things. And obviously, it's going to be winning for us. In the game, so F5, he blundered with this move and got this move here as well. After which, the game is going to be over, right? We got the double attack, and now the 2 king e2 with the same. The main problem here is that his rook here is just trapped, right? The game is kind of gone. So the gameplay here, takes, and it's what? And now we're up 2 pawns and the bishop. When the game is completely over. Sure. Here is after like I think 1 or 2 more moves. Here it is. So GG. To sum it up, my opponent played I think a weird gambit in the opening, which turns out to be wrong. And I managed to solidify my position. I managed to neutralize his activities, and then we convert the pawn up. Fairly simple, right? Also, we have so many ways to convert. That's an issue. In the game, so I chose, I don't know if that's like best way of converting, but I think a very decent way to turn the initiative to the win. You can do something else for sure. As you can see me and you can hear me talking during the process, right? But I think it's a nice game. And people can learn from that game as well. Okay, so any questions for the game? Well, obviously, so this one is better way to, I think, sacrifice. I think in this variation, you can take here, go here, that's one thing, so right? Like e5, which I think is better way to sacrifice. I think this was Blackburn Gambit in the Scandinavian. So you can play d4, you can play c4 now. I think it's actually available, but this is a much better version of the Gambit in the game. So this one is just not the best way to go for it. So, I see no questions. You will see the video, the game being uploaded on YouTube, I think pretty soon. Here, on my YouTube channel, so make sure to follow it, and I will try to be very active on my YouTube channel, so no worries. So, no worries. This line, okay, one moment, it is called, I believe, Boenker Gambit. Something like that, I have no ideas. For me, it is not a very precise sacrifice. The other one, this one, Blackburn Gambit in the Scandinavian, which is a much better version if Black want to sacrifice a pawn. In a game, it is just not the best way. You know what I mean, right? Okay, thank you for the game. Thank you for hearing me, and hopefully you enjoy the games. We'll see you soon in some more videos. Hopefully you enjoy the channel. Thank you and peace.